We have major presidential election updates since our last polling-based race prediction last month. Over the month of October, each of the candidates have worked to make their final case to voters, making several appearances on both legacy and independent media. The overall consensus has the momentum moving strongly in Donald Trump's direction, with the RCP polling average now showing a tie in the national popular vote and small victory margins for Trump across all of the 7 primary swing states, which are expected to determine the election. The early voting numbers for the Republican Party have also been far stronger overall than during the previous election, which has largely been attributed to the change in messaging from the top of the ticket this time around. Shifting to the electoral map, it will quickly become apparent how much things appear to have shifted since the end of September. Our previous projection had Kamala Harris taking a very close election victory by securing the lion's share of electoral votes from the swing states, and most importantly, sweeping the Rust Belt states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Our electoral characterizations today for each state will continue in the same pattern as our previous projections. For newcomers, the presidential election is won by whichever candidate is able to secure the majority of the available electoral votes on the map. The total number of available electoral votes as of 2024 is 538, meaning that a minimum of 270 is required for a candidate to secure the presidency. Each state is assigned a different number of electoral votes based on their population, with more populous states receiving higher amounts and less populous states receiving lower amounts. Each state is won by whichever candidate receives the most votes in that particular state. In most instances, the winner of a state receives all of its electoral votes, regardless of the margin of victory. The 2 exceptions to this rule are Nebraska and Maine, where the respective state governments have decided to split their electoral votes between their statewide elections and congressional district elections. Each of these states contain a total of 4 electoral votes. Of these 4, 2 votes are assigned to whoever wins the overall vote in the state, while 1 vote is assigned to each of the state's congressional districts. This will be shown as we fill out the map with the currently projected results. Each of the states will be assigned a characterization that will include both the candidate who is expected to win and the margin of victory by which his or her victory is expected. The victory margin characterizations assigned will be either safe, likely, lean, or tilt for either of the 2 major candidates. Safe states for our purposes are those we project to be won by greater than 15 points. Likely states are those expected to be decided by between 5 and 15 points, while lean states will have a projected victory margin of between 1 and 5 points. Tilt states will be those expected to be won by either candidate by less than 1 point. Starting off with the safe Democratic states, we expect Kamala Harris to carry her home state of California, Washington, Hawaii, Illinois, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, Rhode Island, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Maine's 1st Congressional District, bringing her total to 159 safe electoral votes. The safe Republican states include Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska at large, along with its 1st and 3rd Congressional Districts, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and West Virginia, securing 103 safe electoral votes for Donald Trump. Shifting to the likely states, Kamala Harris is expected to carry Oregon, Colorado, Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, New Mexico, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and Maine at large, adding 44 electoral votes to bring her to a safe and likely total of 203 electoral votes. Trump, meanwhile, is expected to carry Alaska, Iowa, Missouri, Ohio, Maine's 2nd Congressional District, South Carolina, Texas, and his home state of Florida by likely margins, bringing his total number of expected safe and likely electoral votes to 219. Moving down to the lean states, Kamala Harris is currently projected to win Minnesota and Virginia, adding 23 additional electoral votes into her column for an expected total of 226. Trump is currently leading by lean margins in Arizona and Georgia, adding 27 votes to his collection for an expected total of 246 electoral votes. Lastly, the tilt states, which are currently projected to decide the election, are as follows. As mentioned earlier prior to visiting this map, all of the core swing states have shifted towards Donald Trump, projecting slim margins of victory for the Republican candidate in North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. With this result, Donald Trump returns to the White House for a non-consecutive second term as the 47th President of the United States. The final result is 312 votes and an election victory for Donald Trump, and 226 votes for Kamala Harris. With just under 2 weeks to go, there isn't much runway left in this race, but due to the extremely close margins in the critical swing states, a lot can still change before November 5th. Please let us know what you think in the comments, and what other projections you would like for us to cover before the election. Thanks so much for watching, and subscribe to our channel for more election content.